Let's just make sure that I can see you guys and you can see me, and then we will get started. I am really excited to share, as always, this product knowledge with you. Elastic, I think, is something that sometimes gets overlooked. And I think that sometimes people are like, wait a minute, you know, what's the deal with elastic and stuff like that? So I thought today it would be a fun, just a fun project to play around with elastic. So let me see, I can see you guys on YouTube. Let me make sure that I can bring up Facebook here too. Give me just a minute while I find you. I haven't gotten the notification yet. Ah, and here it is. I just found the notification. There I am. All right, I see all of you all. Great. It's great to have all of you guys here. Over on the Beadshop Facebook page, we've got Gita doing her moderating, of course, as always. And it's great to see everybody there and here live with us. Let me see if I can raise this camera just a little bit. You guys will see Alfie in just a minute when I put the camera around. There we go. Is that better? I don't know. So it's not cutting off the top of my head. Alrighty. So, elastic. Let's chat about elastic. We've got some new stretch magic that we just launched on Tuesday. This is the 1 millimeter. It's a little bit thicker, and I'm going to talk to you about this. And as well as our old standard, the 0.7 millimeter here. And then this is something that I feel like always gets overlooked. It is the fabric covered elastic cord. So without any further ado, you guys, I'm going to turn this camera around so you guys can see what's in front of me, and then I'll bring all the beads and everything in. So as you know, I am my own camera person on Fridays, so just bear with me here while I turn this camera around and we'll get this story, this show on the road. Here's Alfred T. Pickles looking up at you. For some reason, Alfred decided that today would be a good day to bead with me, so he is here and ready to bead. So let's bring that in. I know a big shout out to everybody's pets who always like to watch with us. Alfred, say hi to all your pet friends. You've got a lot of pet friends out on the internet there. There we go. All right. Good boy. There he is. All right. I know that that was a big collective awe from everybody who's watching. We'll see if maybe we can move him over. Or maybe I should move the camera over a little bit, right, you guys? So I've got a little more place to work, a little more room to work. You can never move a sleeping cat, right? Never wake a sleeping cat or a sleeping child. There we go. That looks pretty good, and I'll adjust as needed. All right, Mr. Alfred T. Pickles. Let's get you going. All righty. So there we go. I'm just going to make sure everything is a little too far over. We'll just have to move Alfred as we work. You'll just have to see a kitty cat as we're working. I don't think you guys mind that too much. There we go. All right. I think we're all set there. Okay. So, yes, there's Alfred. He's there with his little paws. And here he is. I'm bringing in my Alfred mug. How meta is that right there? The Alfie mug and the Alfred all together. That's pretty awesome. He just looks like a little black hole on the screen, doesn't he? Oh my goodness. Well, as usual, you guys, welcome to the casual vibe of Free Tip Friday. So, elastic. I've gotten a lot of questions from customers who say, well, Kate, what's up with elastic? I'm afraid to use it. I'm afraid it's going to break. Does it really last all that well? And the answer is Yes, I love it. I love elastic. I've used it for many, many years. And I'm going to share some of my tips and techniques with it. Kim was just saying, Kim over on the Facebook feed, Kim, you said you just made a bracelet this week with the covered elastic. You macrameed the ends in loops like we do with the Ceylon or the CKC. Great idea on that. You could certainly use this like thread because it is kind of a thread covered elastic. That's a great way to go, actually, with that. So let's take a look and see about the elastic itself. So this was our original Stretch Magic, our 0.7 millimeter, this guy. I have some open, so I won't open this one. Alfred's like, you're disturbing my rest, Mama. What do you think about this? This is the 0.7 elastic, Alfred. It's kind of hard to see, but if I put it up against Alfie, it's a little bit easier to see with that dark background. Can you see that? And the 0.7, no, that's not for you. The 0.7 we've used a lot. We've used it in our stretch therapy bracelets. It goes through our semi-precious beads, that kind of stuff. I love the 0.7. However, you guys, sometimes it's a little thin, right? So on beads that have larger holes, I use it a lot doubled over like this with the needle. Alfred, keep your paw there so people can kind of see that doubled. There we go. Nope, that's not for you to have though. You got to behave if you're going to be my assistant. What cat can resist elastic though, really? So you can see doubled over, it's almost like a 1.5 millimeter, maybe just shy of it. So it's a little heavier, a little bit thicker. So I like it. I like it a lot. So I'll show you that in a second. So I thought, well, you know, I'm doubling this over. I'm using this a lot. Why don't we carry the 1 millimeter? So we got some in. This one I am going to open because we don't have any yet. And so any opened yet. And so this Stretch Magic right here, this is the 1 millimeter. You can see it here. And so it's a lot thicker. And I love it. I have used this for, as I say, on a lot of projects for many years. And I find, you know, it's pretty sturdy. But like all threads or all stringing materials, it does have a shelf life. Okay, so don't think that what you're stringing on, like any types of thread, that it's going to last for a million years, especially with elastic pieces. But I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to maximize the life of those. Okay. I see that Emily is watching as well. Hi, Em. We'll put that elastic next to Mr. Alfred. Now, this is also a 1 millimeter, and I'm going to open up, and we have it in a lot of different colors. Here's the mocha, the gray, the black, the melon, the white, and the light blue. I'm going to use the gray here. Okay, and I love this fabric covered elastic. And let me open this one up. It comes in 5-yard little packets here. And I'm going to open it up and we're going to free this elastic here. Now this elastic it's fabric covered. It's like if you were sewing and maybe you were couching or doing something like this, or smocking where you were using elastic so it was stretchy. This is the same type, okay? And it looks really, I love it a lot. And this is the one that we used to carry back when we were a brick and mortar, and it really does stand the test of time for sure. And I think that this gets overlooked, this elastic, the fabric covered elastic, just because Stretch Magic comes, you know, in a flashy package and it's a little newer or whatever. But this old-fashioned fabric covered elastic is some of my favorites. Now, we've also gotten some comments. I got a nice email, or it was an order comment, I think, from someone who said how much they love the show and all of this stuff. And they want more jewelry for guys. Well, elastic bracelets are great for men's jewelry because there's no clasp. You just slide them on. They're kind of easy to size with the elastic. Okay. And so this elastic, and Sharon's asking, is this a new product, this fabric covered elastic? It is not. We've had it forever. I just think that it doesn't always get, gets noticed on that. Now on this, no, that's not for you. On this elastic here, this guy, the fabric covered, I don't do any pre-stretching on it. Someone's been asking about the pre-stretch for the Stretch Magic. You know, I guess the way that I pre-stretch, I kind of automatically do it is before I cut it off or before I use it, I just kind of run it through my hands to pre-stretch it just a little bit. You don't want to overstretch because it's like a rubber band, right? When you're stretching and stretching and stretching, all of that kind of stuff, it will start to wear. So just a little bit of pre-stretching, like you might do silk thread, is a good way to go. Okay. And there's another question. Can you use the fabric Belly Bead says, I'm new to this, but can you use the fabric string on wrap bracelets? This probably is not the best choice for wrap bracelets because it is stretchy, right? And it's kind of hard to maybe to ladder with it. Though if you, maybe if you supported this with looming, maybe, like if you're bead weaving, doing some bead weaving, and maybe doing the edges of this, maybe, or doing some looming with this fabric covered cord. I haven't really explored it that much, but it could work that way. You can just kind of experiment with it. But traditional laddering, I would probably skip on it. So to prepare this for stringing, I've got a bunch of beads in front of me, and I just, before I started the broadcast, I walked through our fulfillment department, and I just grabbed a few beads that I thought would work. And so I want to show you what I've got here. I went to our Vintage Finds, and I pulled some of our currants, I think in mist, and I think this one's moss, maybe, in currants. Let me just double check and make sure that's what this is. But those, anything that has a large hole, right? And the Vintage Finds have a lot of these, not Vintage Finds, I'm sorry, Tribal and Trade. Our Tribal and Trade have some really nice generous holes that are perfect, for the stretch cord. And that currants color, this is sea green, this color. This is mist. Then I have these beads. These are Medicine Man beads, old trade beads. Beautiful. I love them. Some russet, some Sahara sands. These guys are Bingo. These are sand cast. Really gorgeous. Again, really big hole. And some of our Pony Express beads like this. I also grabbed, these are Red Talisman. That's not Medicine Man. That's Red Talisman, I think. Thanks, Gita, for the heads up. Let me make sure that's right. But any of our, the Medicine Man, yes, the Red Talisman, the Bodum beads, any of those that are kind of special, those vintage trade beads would look great with this. And then, like I did on the broadcast on Wednesday with pearls, I also showed you some of our large hold beads here. Our large hold faceted rondelles and our large hold 8mm rounds. I didn't even grab any of our large hold pearls, you guys. I probably should have, because the large hold pearls actually are perfect for this if you want to make a stretch bracelet with the pearls as well. Let me see if I'm just going to do that old faithful texting, and I'm going to text Cara right from the broadcast and see if she would bring me a few large hole pearls, because I forgot them. Let's see. Any kind. Okay, let's see. I'm sure they'll come in. So, so let me start with how I prepare and use just this regular stretch magic here. This is the 1 millimeter. I'm going to move this over. My workspace is severely compromised by this cat. Alfred, I'm going to move you. Can I move him over? Maybe I should just move the why don't I just move the camera? There we go. There you go. Good boy, Alfred. Good boy. There you go. Move right over there. What a good boy. There we go. You knew Mama needed a little more workroom, didn't you? He said, get out of my way, Mom. Get out of my way. There we go. So here's the 1 millimeter, like I said, the fabric covered. Here is the 0.7 stretch magic, and here's the 1 millimeter stretch magic. So when you're choosing beads, you need to kind of reconnoiter with your beads and see what size. You need to use the largest cord possible through your beads, okay? And if you can at all use these doubled, then that's what I would recommend, using them doubled, okay? And I'm going to come in, I'm going to cut away this end. This is the 1 millimeter. Again, it's a little hard to see. You can see, I'll put it on Alfie, the background. Let me see if I have a little bit of a better background here that's not so light. There we go. This might be a little bit better since it's not so super white. A little bit easier for you to see that. Ish. Easier-ish. And I also had my needle. Gosh, here we go. So I like to test to see what will go through my beads. Now, probably the smallest bead hole I have here are these semi-precious rounds that I've got sitting next to me over here. Okay. And I'm going to just free one up. I see it's Suzanne's birthday. Suzanne, all the way over in Finland. Happy birthday to you. I had an amazing birthday week. It was really good. Lots of fun. So you can see these beads, they have a pretty, actually it's a pretty generous sized hole. And I'm going to come around, I'm going to slide these guys through. And yes, indeed, a doubled strand does go through here. And so test out all of your beads to see if the doubled strand will work. And if the doubled strand works, I think it's a good way to go. You could use just a single strand. With this, it works just fine. And you don't have to use a needle with this cord because it is stiff enough, the end is, to just put your beads right on. Okay. Now, I know you guys are all intrigued by this fabric elastic here. And so the fabric elastic, we just carry it in the 1 millimeter, this here. And the way it comes, when I'm working with it, it does have a tendency sometimes to fray a little bit. I'm way down in the corner of the screen. Let me move stuff up. Alfred, you're going to have to scoot over a little bit more, I think. There we go. That's a little bit better. Now I'm going to clip this end. I can clip it with my cutter, but as I'm working with it, let me get in a little bit tighter so you guys can see that. As I'm working with it, it has a tendency to fray a little bit. So what I do is, like I do with a lot of thread, is I use some of that zap glue, and I'm going to put a little bit of that zap right onto this bag here. If I can squeeze it out. Get a pin, open it up here. There we go. Just going to use a pin, clear that airway. There we go. Open it up, get a little bit of zap right out there. And I'm just going to put a self needle on the end of this elastic. Okay. Get it all in there. And I'm just going to let that dry for a moment. You can see I've got elastic glue on, maybe like the last inch or so here. I'm going to set it over here so it doesn't glue itself to Alfred. And I'm going to just string up kind of a pair of bracelets here. I'm going to string up these guys, and I won't double it. I mean, this is plenty, this 1 millimeter. It's actually plenty strong for this, and the way I want to close it, I want to show you a couple of ways how I close this. And I'm going to do kind of a fast transfer over. See with these large hold beads, how I just lay my elastic there and just quickly transfer them over, slide them over like that, right? They just go really very, very quickly. Then if I want to add maybe, I don't know, a couple of these bingo. Let me do 3. I think they look nice. The Tribal and Trade, I think, like I said earlier, are a really, really good match for, let me get in frame, for these, for all of this elastic. They have such generous holes, and they really look good on bracelets for men. And with the holidays coming up, needing some quick makes, this is definitely a quick make. Right, Alfred? Alfred is so not interested in any of this at all. Okay. Now people are asking other questions about different types of elastic cord. You know, here at Beadshop, this is what we carry. We carry the Stretch Magic, and we carry the fabric covered elastic. All elastic is kind of created equally. It's really in how you choose the thickness for your beads, as well as how you close it off. Okay, so all of those things are factors when you're using it, but there are many different types on the market, and kind of all of this knowledge kind of translates over. But again, my favorite, if I'm using the right size beads, I really dig the fabric covered elastic, but I'm kind of old school. Let's make this the right size here. So let me move the camera down. Easier to do that than to move that kitty cat, right? So you guys can see what's going on here. Let me get in a little bit tighter so you can see the action here right there on that piece. So let's make this even. Okay. And I want a bead at the end. First I have to measure this. Let me take one off and measure it. There we go. This is about right. And what I do is I simply just kind of hold it. I'll slide it on. I have a little bit of room there, but that's what I want. So I'm going to put on a big hold bead, these guys. Okay. And that looks about right. Oh, Kayla from Dakota Stones is watching. At least I think that's Kayla. We love our large hold beads. I'm just going to slide this through, and I'm going to just make sure that this is the right size. I think it might be one bead too big, so I'm going to take it off, take this one off. Okay. So now, there's a couple of ways that you can close this. We can tie a knot, but one of the things that I really like doing is I like crimping this closed. And I'm going to have to... Is somebody right outside the Facebook room? Yeah. Hello? Cara? could you grab the crimping plier that I stole out of the Facebook room? It's on my bench over there.
It's on your desk?
Yeah, not on my desk, but on my workbench. Please and thank you. Because what I'm going to do, you guys, is look at what's right there. Can you see? That's a 3x3 crimp tube. I am a big fan of crimping this. I know, another collective gasp. I heard it. I heard it. I really, really love the 3mm crimp tube. Thanks, Cara. Oh, Alfred is going to go help you. Come on. He says, I'm going to go help Cara put those beads away. Good boy. So what I'm going to do here to close it up, I'm going to put my, let me get really close so you guys can see this. I'm going to put my crimp, and these are just our Beadsmith crimps. Can you see that? Beadsmith crimp tubes, and it's these large ones. It's actually a 2.5 by 2.5 crimp. Okay, and I crimp pretty much all elastic, but heavy elastic. I don't crimp the thinner elastic because you can kind of chew through it, but I really like crimping the big elastic. So see how I pulled it around my finger to open up the channel inside the crimp so I can get this one through? As long as you get it, it's kind of out of my range of vision, you guys, sorry. Let me get a little close to me so I can see what I'm doing and get it through there. There we go. You kind of have to catch the front of it, and then you kind of just have to push it through. Tell that crimp tube who's boss. Okay? Then you pull it. Now, this is the stickler, you guys. You don't want to pull your elastic too tight, or else you're going to crimp a stretch into it, and your elastic will be under tension, and it won't last. I'm also crimping this a little tighter than I might normally because this Pony Express has a really big hole. So after I crimp this closed, that crimp tube is going to fall right inside that Pony Express. Okay. Now I'm using my Xuron crimping plier, and you've seen me crimp many times on this show before. We do have a lot of really great tutorials about using crimp tubes, but essentially you use the crimping portion of the crimping plier, and then you match it with the correct oval. In this case, it's the one at the very end, and you fold it in half to fold it, and then give it a nice little hug with the tip. And this is the Xuron, as I said, the Xuron crimping plier. Now the elastic is so sturdy and so thick, and these crimp tubes are also really thick, so nothing is cutting through. Okay, there you go. No glue, nothing needed. Now I'm going to come in, I want to crimp it just, there we go, perfect. Now I'm going to come in, and you could even double crimp this, you guys, if you wanted 2 crimps on there. But this is not going anywhere. And see how when I cut those tails away, that crimp tube just falls right inside that Pony Express. Look at how cool that looks. It looks great. Totally hidden. It looks great. Right? And this is a great guy bracelet. Chris would love this, especially these green beads, some of his favorite colors, right? I want to show you with this fabric covered elastic and my needle how I would do a knot for this. Okay, so remember how I stiffened that end with my zap? I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut an angle cut this guy so it's nice and pointed, easy to work with. And let me get these tiger eye beads here. The tiger eye is good. I love tiger eye, and I feel like especially these large hole, these matte tiger eye really make the when they're mattified. I don't know if mattified is the right word. Matted maybe is the right thing. I don't know. When they're made matte and not shiny, it really makes the stones, like the inner beauty of those stones, gleam. So it's not just the shiny polish, but it's really kind of the inner beauty of that stone. I'm going to use, I got these Tides Out, these guys, in gray, which are kind of cool. But you know what? I might be a little more liberal with these Pony Express because they really look good. And maybe I'll do 2 of these and then 2 of these. I don't know. I'm making this up as we go along, right? So look at how cool that looks just there. So let me just add a few more. Well, Dakota Stone says mattify, so that's what I'm going to say. These have been mattified. I like it. So here we've got this. And again, we're just going to, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. So it's time for another one of those. I don't know. I'm not even measuring, you guys. And this is just how fast you can make something, right? I just, as I said, I sailed on through fulfillment, grabbed some stuff off the wall, and sailed in to film this. So I did not think about this too much beforehand. There we go. Okay, so what have we got? 2, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. Let's see how I'm doing on length. It might be a little long, or it might be just right. It's just a hair, I think it's just a hair long. So I'm going to cut all of this, I'm going to cut some of this extra away. And I'll take 2 stones off the back, and I'll add 1 of these Pony Express on the end to kind of cover up the crimp, or cover up the knot rather. I'm not going to crimp this one, though you could. I could crimp this, I think, but I like to knot the fabric elastic. Yep, there we go. Okay, so the knot I'm going to tie, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a nice square knot. Now, in this case, I am going to use glue, okay? And I'm going to use some, you could use Zap, but Zap has a tendency to stiffen, so I'm going to use GS, okay, GS Hypo. So the knot I'm going to tie is a square knot, right over left and down, just like that. And now I'm going to tie the left over right and down. Again, I don't want to tie any stretch into this piece, but I'm going to make sure it's nice and tight, that knot's super tight. And before you tie that second half of the square knot, I could have put some glue down, but that's okay. This glue is just going to really saturate into that fabric. And if this were real jewelry making time and not demo time, I would wait 24 hours and then I would come in and I'd clip off the tails. I wouldn't do it this quickly. If I do it this quickly, it may come apart. So you want to make sure and make sure to wait that 24 hours. Okay. So there we go. So there's that one. And see that knot again, see where it is? It's under that Pony Express. That's not going anywhere. So we've got a great pair. Let me make a pretty little picture here. We've got a great pair of elastic bracelets right here. One on the 1mm, our new 1mm Stretch Magic, and one on our 1mm fabric covered elastic. They're both great. And you can see the Stretch Magic one is a little stiffer, just a little bit. And what you want to do when you're putting on bracelets like this, you don't want to pull them out and then pull them on. Stretch bracelets like this are meant to be rolled on. So just roll them on your wrist like this, rather than pulling them. The roll will let them, let me take off my opulent bangle here. There we go. They sit much nicer. Aren't those nice? And they're a lot more, they'll last a lot longer if you don't pull them and pull them on. Just roll them straight right onto your wrist. We need a third one of these. You know, any of our large hold beads. Look at that pyrite would look really, really nice. Speaking of matte, this matte onyx would be a good third one, and that matte onyx with this red talisman bead would look amazing. So it's a good wristful of tribal elements here. I think would look great. So so that's it. And Dorothy asked the question, would you ever crimp the fabric covered elastic? You could, you certainly could, but I'm a bigger fan of knotting the fabric covered. You could also knot in the same way I did here with the fabric covered. You could also knot the stretch magic, but just make sure that when you knot, you want to make sure and glue them. So here I'm going to take them off. I'm going to roll them off like this. Just roll them off my hand and roll them off my hand this way. Okay, but super easy, really great for the holidays for sure. Fast, easy to make, a fast, easy make, and doing a little set of 3 like this, I think would make a great gift for anyone. It would look really, really beautiful. Okay. I also will say our cubes, our 3mm cubes, work really great on the elastic. And I think it was Kim that mentioned our 6/0 seed beads also work great on elastic. And we're having our big seed bead sale this weekend. So these would be great to make a whole wristful of seed bead ones that kind of, you know, slide up and over on your wrist. But the Pony Express, these are our small metal pony shaped beads, and we carry them in a lot of different coatings. These are the antique brass here. So these are our bingo. This is some of our Dakota Stones large hold beads, our Tides Out in Mist, and then this is our red talisman bead here. But if you search both all of our categories, if you go to Tribal and Trade, there's so many really great ones. And we usually have the whole size listed there for you, so you can see if it'll fit. But most of them will fit on the elastic. All right, you guys. Well, that does it. Yeah, all of our African beads, all of these, if you go under Tribal and Trade, and we've been buying from the same African traders for almost 30 years. So all of our African trade beads really are the real deal. Janice and I both are really pretty well versed, as well as Emily, very well versed in kind of the whole trade bead world of beads. So you can be assured that they are the real deal. They're really gorgeous. Yeah, these red talisman, I know everyone's drooling over them. They're really a great bead. Really, really beautiful. All right, I'm going to move the camera around and sign off, you guys, because it is Friday. And I know that you guys are ready to get creative, as am I, over this weekend. So remember, we've got that 1mm Stretch Magic, which is brand new. We've got this, our fabric covered elastic that comes in a bunch of different colors. I used gray today. And of course, we carry our regular Stretch Magic that we've always carried in the 0.7. So we've got a whole bunch of elastic for you to choose from for your designs. Really fast and great for because holidays are coming. I use the Crimp Tubes. This is the 2.5 by 2.5. We carry them in these little packets of assorted sizes. And of course, to crimp it all together, our beloved Xuron crimping plier. So that's everything there. Let me turn this around. Next week, you guys, I'm taking a week off. I know, I heard another big collective gasp. Chris and I are taking a week off, which is going to be great. So next week on Wednesday for Beadshop Live, you are going to have Emily. Emily is going to be here to take the reins with what we've got going on. And she has, you guys, a really fantastic brick stitch project for you. It's a brick stitch earring that I know you guys are going to just love. It's based on Missoni, you know, the designer Missoni, and his use of color. Their use of color over at the House of Missoni. This is going to be super close, so I'm going to pull it right back there. There we go. And so I think you guys are really going to love it. So you'll be in great hands with Emily next week. Next week also, there will be no Free Tip Friday because I will be gone. I will be putting my toes in the sand. So I'm sorry, Alfred, I'd give Alfred a chance to say goodbye, but I think he's helping Cara put beads away. So I'm sorry. We don't. Oh no, here he is. Chris is bringing him. So I'll let you guys say goodbye to Alfie. And then we'll be back the beginning of the end of the month, and there he is. There's the giant kitty. Come on, baby. There we go. So we have all kinds of great stuff coming up for you guys in October as well. I've got a great charm bracelet project, so many things, and Brittany's going to be back at the end of the month in October. Alfred, say goodbye to everybody, Alfie. He says, I want my lunch, right? Right, Pa? All right, well, there he goes. Thanks, Alfred, and thanks to you guys as well. I'll give you the final look on the Alfie cup here. Have a great week. I'll miss you when I'm gone, but I'll be back at the beginning of the month with another fantastic project. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a fantastic and creative weekend. Enjoy working with elastic, and I'll see you guys soon.